Walter Starr lived in a world where everything was simple. They loved each other, so what was more natural than to make love? They each knew the other was right, so why complicate their lives by fretting over what other people would say or think or do? A kindly God understood love. Father Johnson, who had taken a vow never to fall in love, didn't. They didn't need any stupid contracts or certificates, did they? And after 6 glorious weeks, when Walter had to think of going back to the States, Chicky was ready to go with him. It involved an immense amount of rows and dramas and enormous upset in the Ryan household, but Walter was unaware of any of this. Chicky's father was more worried than ever now, because everyone would say that he had brought up a tramp who was no better than she should be. Chicky's mother looked more tired and disappointed than ever, and said only God and his sainted mother knew what she had done wrong in bringing Chicky up to be such a scourge to them all. Kathleen said that it was just as well she had an engagement ring on her finger, because no man would have her if he knew the kind of family she came from. Mary, who worked in the insurance office and was walking out with one of the O'Haras, said that the days of her romance were now numbered, thanks to Chicky. The O'Haras were a very respectable family in the town, and they wouldn't think kindly about this behaviour at all. Her brother Brian kept his head down and said nothing at all. When Chicky asked him what he thought, Brian said he didn't think. He didn't have time to think. Chicky's friends, Peggy, who also worked in the knitting factory, and Nola, who was a maid for the 3 Miss Sheedys, said it was the most exciting, reckless thing they had ever heard of, and wasn't it great that she had a passport already from that school trip to Lord's? Walter Starr said they would stay in New York with friends of his. He was going to drop out of law school. It wasn't really right for him. If we had several lives, well, then yes, maybe, but since we only have one life, it wasn't worth spending it studying law. The night before she left, Chicky tried to make her parents understand her feelings. She was 20. She had her whole life to live. She wanted to love her family, and for them to love her in spite of their disappointment. Her father's face was tight and hard. She would never be welcome in this house again. She had brought shame on them all. Her mother was bitter. She said that Chicky was being very, very foolish. It wouldn't last. It couldn't last. It was not love. It was infatuation. If this Walter really loved her, then he would wait for her and provide her with a home and his name and a future instead of all this nonsense. You could cut the atmosphere in the Ryan household with a knife. Chicky's sisters were no support, but she was adamant. They hadn't known real love. She was not going to change her plans. She had her passport. She was going to go to America. "Wish me well," she had begged them the night before she left, but they had turned their faces away. "Don't let me go away with the memory of you being so cold." Chicky had tears running down her face. Her mother sighed a great sigh. "It would be cold if we just said, 'Go ahead, enjoy yourself.' We are trying to do our best for you, to help you make the best of your life. This is not love. It's only some sort of infatuation. There's no use pretending. You can't have our blessing. It's just not there for you." So Chicky left without it. At Shannon Airport, there were crowds waving goodbye to their children, setting out for a new life in the United States. There was nobody to wave Chicky goodbye, but she and Walter didn't care. They had their whole life ahead of them. No rules, no doing the right thing to please the neighbours and relations. They would be free, free to work where they wanted and at what they wanted. No trying to fulfill other people's hopes, to marry a rich farmer in Chicky's case, or to become a top lawyer, which was what Walter's family had in mind for him. Walter's friends were welcoming in the big apartment in Brooklyn. Young people, friendly and easygoing. Some worked in bookshops, some in bars. Others were musicians. They came and went easily.